The first question, the theory of geosynclines interpreted as birthplace of fold mountain belts. It should have been was here. The theory of geosynclines was interpreted as the birthplace of folded belts until a steady flow of geophysical results from the oceans had seriously weakened the theory. Discuss. One technique of writing answers is you could try mentally to rephrase the question and simplify कि क्या पूछ रहा है. And this one technique I teach also for the essays. Okay, कि अगर आप questions को अगर अपने शब्दों में दोबारा लिखें, simple statements में, words में, what would the question look like? Big words हैं, interpreted, steady flow of geophysical results, okay, birthplace of fold belts. Simplify the question. What does the question want? The question is telling us what? Basically saying that the geosyncline concept was an acceptable, okay, concept to explain fold mountains, but new discoveries and new findings related to the ocean floor ultimately dismissed, ultimately challenged geosynclines, okay, in fold mountain building. You can that for a long time the geosynclines were interpreted as, okay, a reliable theory for folded belts. Geosynclines से हमें समझ में आ रहा है, yes, it's a good theory to understand fold mountain building. But हुआ क्या? कुछ discoveries आ गया, कुछ findings आ गया, there were some gaps, and ultimately the geosyncline concept was discarded. It was not good enough anymore. The theory of geosynclines was interpreted as the birthplace of fold belts until a steady flow. Until का मतलब है उसके बाद में वो रुक गया. Steady flow of geophysical results from oceans seriously weakened the theory. So if I am writing an answer, सबसे पहले important, what I teach all of you is, you must have a storyline in your answer. आप कोई भी आंसर, कोई ऐसे लिखें, any talk देना चाहें, anything which is part of some knowledge sharing, सब में आपका एक storyline होना चाहिए. That I will talk about idea 1, then I will talk about idea 2, I'll move towards idea 3, I'll move towards idea 4, and then I'll come towards conclusion. You must have a flow कि कैसे आप discuss करेंगे उसको. If you don't have this picture in mind, your answer cannot be a smooth write-up. So idea 1, idea 2 कैसे होगा? So if I am thinking aloud, I'll say, yes, I'll say, yes, fold mountains have some unique features that earlier theories could not explain. Geosynclines was very convincing because it explained 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Then I will say third. However, geosynclines could not explain some things like 1, 2, 3 points. Okay, but when okay, the ocean study started. Okay, ocean studies told us one idea, second idea, third idea, and these ideas were not compatible with what was told about fold mountains by geosynclines. Okay, this is my storyline. Therefore, we need new theories, and maybe, okay, plate tectonics helped replace geosyncline theory. बस हो गया आपका storyline. It looks okay, very doable, provided you see this logically. The first point is, fold mountains are unique landforms जो कि पहले वाले theories कुछ बता नहीं पा रहे थे. How are they formed? Okay, geosyncline was very convincing because it said some things, it can explain some things, but कुछ gaps रह गया था. Even then I'll say geosynclines were still the most credible theory. But then Some ocean discoveries told us some new things. And in light of the new things, ab ye enough nahi banega. So this is not a question that is to be written as what are the merits and demerits of geosyncline theory. Content to wahi hai, more or less. The storyline is different. I hope you understand this point here. This is the story I want you to build. Yes, later sea floor spreading or whatever, we'll come to that. Make sense, all of you? Okay, so the first point, okay, fold mountains, and there's the key ideas, okay, fold mountains, sedimentary hai, fold mountains are mobile belts, fold mountains, okay, they are specific locations, fold mountains are not random ki kahin bhi ban jayega, okay, fold mountains, some of them are linked to volcanism, okay. Now these things could not be explained by, okay, the catastrophic origin of Earth. ये समझा नहीं पा रहा था. What is catastrophic Earth's origin? The Earth was formed from some explosion, okay, maybe by nebular accretion, maybe because of impact of meteorites. ऐसे बना था Earth शायद. Go back to ideas of origin and evolution of the Earth's crust. Okay, so if I go back to some old ideas was Earth probably was the consequence of, okay, nebular process. Ab isme fold mountains kaise bane? How do I know? You go back to theories of impact of meteorites. Impact of meteorites, craters ban gaya, but that can't explain my fold mountains. Okay, I have the theory called as the permanency of oceans and continents by Harold Jeffrey. He talks about how Earth was cooling and contracting and the mountains as wrinkles. ये 3-4 concepts ये समझा नहीं पा रहा है. Why fold mountains are sedimentary? Why are they marine deposits? Why are they mobile deposits? Why they don't form anywhere, everywhere? Why they have volcanism? हम समझा नहीं पा रहे. Okay, so to answer this, the first serious attempt was the concept of Hall and Dana's geosynclines, and the other theories like those of style, the ideas of Schuchert, the ideas of Kober. Okay, all of this helped understand the fold mountains. I'm presuming you know these terms, all of you. Okay, Hall and Dana. Okay, they talk about a shallow geosyncline, slowly, gradually sinking floor. That's why all layers have shallow deposits. Okay, we have the ideas of Schuchert. They can be small geosynclines, the big geosynclines, the deep geosynclines. We can have mu geosynclines, EU geosynclines. They can be ocean floor deep deposits, shallow deposits. That was about style. Kober, he talks about how there's a sequence in how geosyncline forms. So all of this looks very convincing in how mountains are formed. Using these theories, okay, what could be explained? क्या क्या आप explain कर पा रहे थे? You would explain the geosynclines as marine origin, because geosynclines were on the margins. They were on the margins. You could explain why geosynclines are mobile. Why are they mobile? Because they have soft sediments. There's some compression going on. Okay, so they are mobile sediments. They are soft sediments and there is compression going on. Compression के बारे में क्या बोला गया था? Okay, we had Kober who said, Kober talked about cooling of the crust. Cooling of the crust creating compression. Okay, please keep jotting as I speak, okay? Then we had the idea of Taylor. याद आ रहा है Taylor? Taylor talked about how Eurasian, Laurasia and Gondwana collided. Okay, the first theory of drift theory was given by Taylor, 1908 mein. He talks about, okay, not plates, but he said there was a Laurasian continent and there was the Gondwana continent that collided. So very good. This theory could explain the trans-Eurasian mountain systems. Alps से लेके Himalayas तक समझा रहा था. So very good, credible, yes. Okay, Taylor can explain. Kober could explain the sequence information. I hope you got the point here. Achha. Then, this geosyncline idea was also taken up by Wegener. Wegener says the geosynclines margins mein hai, and there's scraping going on as the continents are moving. Okay, so Wegener's idea of scraping sediments as the continents are moving. Okay, so all of this looks very nice. Okay, they can explain. Okay, marine origin, they can explain. Soft mobile, they can explain. The process, they could explain. The Trans-Eurasian mountains, they can explain why fold mountains are on the margins of the continents. Okay, but some things not explained. Not explained kya tha? How are the fold mountains associated with volcanism? ये इसको समझा नहीं पा रहा था. Why should fold mountains have volcanism? Okay. Why should fold mountains be inside the continents? Okay. And if inside continents, then यहाँ पर marine sediments कहाँ से आया? This is what Taylor tried explaining, but Taylor had no mechanism with him. Taylor said there was a Eurasian, Laurasian continent. There was a Gondwana continent. So for whatever reasons, they come together. Why, how, some theory he had. And the sea shrunk and the mountains are formed. His problem was that driving mechanism was incorrect. Go back to this formula of mine. Fold mountains are unique. Old theories can't tell us much. Geosynclines gave us a lot of ideas. Yes, agreed. 4, 5, 6 names. But कुछ gaps तो रह गया. अब यही gap को aggravate कर दिया when we started the ocean floor mapping. When we started ocean floor mapping. What was the mapping telling us? Mapping was telling us, number one, that the coastal mountains like Andes, like Rockies, these mountains are associated with trenches. ये पहले किसी ने नहीं बताया था. Trenches was a new discovery that old theories did not talk about. Fine. Second observation that they had about the fold mountains, that the sea floor spreading talks about that the oceans are subducting and not continents floating over the oceans. एक नया discovery हो गया आपका. ठीक है. The third evidence, the third discussion that they had is that the volcanism of the coastal mountains was a very specific andesitic eruptions. ये volcanic eruptions बहुत specific थे. The andesitic eruptions. This we did not know about. Why? Achha. Then we also found the mores on the ocean floor. They found, remember the magnetic strips of reverse polarity, Adara? They found that, and this was not easy to link with how oceans expand and how fold mountains form. These were some of the discoveries from the ocean floor. So this starts questioning कि geosyncline concept जरूरी भी है या नहीं. The whole idea of this important point. The whole idea of the accretionary prism formation because of ocean floor scraping. The whole idea of accretionary prism formation because of ocean floor scraping discarded how Kober interpreted the sedimentation in the geosynclines. It discarded how Kober interpreted the sedimentation of the geosynclines. Is it okay, all of you? Therefore, अब आप आओगे conclusion में. Therefore, Okay, the geosyncline concept was severely challenged, and the new plate tectonics model, where fold mountains explained in terms of plate collisions, fold mountains as a consequence of OO collision, OC collision, CC collision, and the three types. This became more popular. I know I'm moving at a speed, but I can't be teaching covert theory here. ये आप अपने आप पढ़ के आएंगे, understand the notes, whatever you know. इसका अगर आप एक हल्का वाला मॉडल भी लिखाएंगे ना, तब भी आपका आंसर अच्छा होगा. अब आपका फ्लो बन गया. Is it okay, all of you? Online. Yes, Kashish, tell me, what's your doubt? I deliberately kept to the findings of the ocean floor alone. Because question वही मांग रहा है ना. Question नहीं मांग रहा है. But end में हम बता देंगे कि fold mountain CC type के भी होते हैं. Okay, and we find marine sediments even in this middle Himalayas has marine sediments, no? What do we call them as? What are the marine sediments of the Himalayas called as? Anybody? Yes, they're called as nummulitic deposits, nummulitic sediments. In middle Himalayas se milta hai. The fourth finding, the bands of reverse polarity strips, Rahul. You have got more? Okay. They found the polarity north-south. I think you know all of this. And then link this with how the ocean dynamism is linked to your mountain building. Uske baad, Kashish, okay, fine. You can do that. Tectonics is more inductive. At a local level, geosyncline is more generic. Yes. He was taking the ideas of Taylor ahead. Yes. So neither Taylor nor Wegener used the idea called the geosynclines, but Wegener was using Taylor's ideas of tethys. Okay, that's why we added that as one statement. And when Wegener was giving his theory, geosyncline concepts logon ko pata tha. The theory is a concept geosyncline already given. It's a pretty old concept of Hall and Dana. The scraping of the ocean was accepted, but scraping because of subduction, not because of continents floating over the oceans. All good here? So, देखो, एक general tendency होगा answer में to write down what are geosynclines. How do geosynclines explain fold mountain and what are the limitations? ये एक tendency है, यही answer बनता है. Okay, what are geosynclines? They are narrow, long, mobile, okay, shallow, along the margins, Hall and Dana, and you have all those points there. Okay, and how they explain fold mountains, you'll talk about covert theory. This sequence se ban jata hai. Limitations, you have some points. But see, this format is not what the question demands. Question कह रहा है कि geosyncline अच्छा concept था, वो बता भी रहा था बहुत कुछ. Then the problem was when ocean mapping was done, then geosyncline was discarded. मुझे ये चाहिए storyline, not this one. That's why I want to fit you into sequence first. ये sequence ही वाला. Okay, because of the tricky wordings, कैसे flow करेंगे. अगर ये question होता, तो ये आपका L1 या L2 हो गया straight. The moment I say, tell me, link it to ocean floor mapping, you are trapped there. Can I move on now? Next question. You can have schematics here. Okay, older theories of mountain building, you can use a schematic here. You can use a flow chart here. You need not write down as list like this. Then Hall and Dana concepts, you can always draw, okay, the sequence of how it was explained. Okay, the series here, subduction here, sorry, the deepening here, then there's compression, it rises up. Use diagrams here. This mobile zones, covert theory, यहाँ भी ला सकते हो आप. तो आपके हर पेज में अगर एक आध है तो good enough. ठीक है? Okay. Try another question. River channel represents a three-dimensional form A river channel represents a three-dimensional form defined by its slope, cross-section, and pattern. A river channel represents a three-dimensional form defined by its slope, cross-section, and pattern. River channel represents a three-dimensional form defined by its slope, cross-section, and pattern. Explain. Online, did you all get the question? Online? Did you all get the question? Chalo, batao fir isme kya likhenge. Think to the question first. If I am simplifying it, what do you think question is asking? The feature of rivers includes slope, cross-section, okay, and its pattern. Okay. Effect of dimension पूछ रहा है क्या? Anshul, is the topic asking you, tell us the effect of slope or effect of discharge, बोल रहा है क्या? ये तो statement दे दिया है कि river channel represents a three-dimensional form defined by slope, cross-section, and pattern. तो सोचो इसको क्या कहना चाह रहा है और ये statement क्यों बोला जा रहा है? क्या आपको पता नहीं है? River has a cross-section. All of us know, right? A river has a slope. All of us know that. Like a river has its own pattern. ये भी पता है. तो इसमें extraordinary क्या पूछ दिया है इसमें? It's about channel geometry, fluid dynamics. Yes, it is. But what it is trying to ask, if I make a statement like, I'm a man with my own ambitions, with my own fear, and with my own talent. Explain. ये statement क्यों बोला जाएगा? पहले ये बताओ. What do you think? What do you think makes me say this? पहले ये सोचो. वो क्या conversation चल रहा होगा? I'll say, look, I'm a man of my own dreams. I'm a man of my ambitions, and I'm a man who also has his fears. What is the conversation going on? In response to which the statement has been said. वो identify करो पहले. What's the context? River's characteristics. Okay, fine. River का uniqueness है. तो क्या discussion चल रहा होगा जिसके वजह से बोलना पड़ा कि देखो river का भी uniqueness है. You are there. Yeah. Yes, but tell me a bit more. What are the impacts of these factors? तो मैं सीधा पूछ लेता कि tell us how the slope and or the what the cross section impacts. ऐसे पूछ लेता. ऐसा statement क्यों दे रहा है? A river represents this. ये statement क्यों दे रहा है? पूछ लेता आपको simple word में. Tell us the impact of slope. Tell us the impact of cross section, whatever. Impact, okay. On the basis of these features, explain a river channel. Yeah, you're not wrong. You look fairly better than most at least. Yes. So this is a statement. कहाँ से आ रहा है पहले बताओ. Yes, you're right. Not wrong there. Same question. कि देखो यार, I'm a man of my dreams. I have my own fears. I have my own ambitions. ये कब बोलूंगा मैं? When people don't acknowledge me, no. या मेरा ये काम कर दिया, या तू मुझे help कर दिया, ये कर दे. मैं क्या रुक जा यार, मेरा भी अपने सपने हैं ना. I also have my. So you to never get feared. You can do anything on the world. So no, wait. मेरे भी अपने fears हैं. I hope you got the point here. So this statement comes from a conversation that says rivers are agents of erosion, and all rivers will make delta. All rivers will make a V-shaped valley. Okay. Rivers are part of a landform evolution. High rivers will have canyons. Low-lying features will have peneplains. Have you got the point here? So in that conversation, जहां पर river is talked in terms of a denudation agent, फिर आप river की बात कहां कर? आप तो river की impact की बात कर रहे हो ना? But realization is river is not making deltas. River is not simply river erodes. River not simply river meanders. River is every river is unique because उसके अपने valley systems हैं, उसके अपना cross section है, उसका अपना slope है, उसके patterns अलग हैं. The river of northern plain is not same as river of the plateau, not same as river of the mountains, not same as an old river, not same as young river. Why? Because they have different cross sections, they have got different slopes, and they have different types of patterns. So this question is based on, can we appreciate the river on the basis of its own elements rather than talk only in terms of what they do? I hope you got the point here, all of you. This is the key thought I'm trying to force out of you. Why did geomorphology require the concept of channel morphology? इसके पहले river पढ़ा नहीं हुआ था क्या? Davis is studying rivers. We all read rivers. Okay, they make valleys, they make deltas, they make oxbow lakes, they make floodplains, they are meandering. सब पढ़ता है हमें. Why did I have a separate chapter called as channel morphology? Why I'm talking about? कि river का slope है, steep हो सकता है, gentle हो सकता है, irregular thalweg है, smooth thalweg है. Why am I saying all of this? That there are 2-3 ways of studying a river. One way is see the river as an agent of denudation. फिर वो कोई river है, Mississippi हो, Ganga हो, Changjiang हो, Luang हो, all of them, Vishef Valley, all of them make deltas along the mountain. All of them, flat plains will meander. Okay. This is one way of river as an agent of denudation. Done. फिर हम बोलेंगे, look the way Davis discussed river. River as an agent of slope evolution. वो river की तो बात ही भी नहीं कर रहे हैं. वो कह रहे landform can be steep, landform can have gorges, landform can have flat plains, landform can become peneplain. River कहाँ गया इसमें? The river is like a background agent. उसका कुछ काम नहीं है. It only shapes the landscape. Or third idea, river causes floods, river causes droughts. पानी है तो floods है, नहीं है तो droughts है. Have you got the point here? So historically, rivers have been studied more in terms of what they do, the impact on society, the impact on landforms, on the landscapes. But the fact is, every river is a personality with its own cross sections, its patterns, and its slope characteristics. Is it okay? And then you will say that these elements also interact with one another. Slope impacts valley, valley impacts slope. Okay, the patterns impact the valley, the pattern impacts the cross section, and so on. And then give examples. So no two rivers are same. No two rivers defined in terms of same features. Now give examples. कहीं symmetrical valley है, कहीं asymmetrical valley है, कहीं पर V-shaped valley है. Are all river valleys only V-shaped? No. We can have rectangular river valleys also. We can have symmetrical valley also, asymmetrical also. वो कौन बताएगा? Are all river patterns same? No. Dendritic भी है, trellis भी है, rectangular भी है, which means a river is defined by the landscape on it which flows. The river agent है नहीं, अलग बात है, but landscape भी impact करता है river को. This is the focus of the question. ये समझ में आ गया? Then you're on, no problem, right? Yeah, online, is it okay, all of you? Yes, Pankaj, you're right, correct. Yes. So this is what I want. कि आप questions को थोड़ा सा सोच के अटैक करो. You began with is asking an impact. I say no, इसको rephrase. कहाँ पे लिखा है its impact बताओ. It says river is represented by 3-dimensional form. A river's feature, a property है, it has a valley, it has a cross section, it has a pattern. इसको ignore ना करो. Okay. So how do I now make my storyline? The storyline of this question. Okay. So there are, first point will be, there are different ways of studying rivers, channels, and streams. The storyline always comes from my questions understanding. There are different ways of studying rivers, channels, and streams. Okay. Traditionally, rivers seen mainly as an agent of erosion. River seen as an agent in a slope evolution, or a river is seen in terms of impact on man, floods and droughts. Traditionally, rivers have been studied as agents of denudation. Okay, so जब भी river erode करेगा, it will make a V-shaped valley. If it deposits, it will make a floodplain, it will make a delta, whatever. River as agents of denudation. Rivers, Davis model tha, rivers as agents of slopes evolution. Okay, the stage wise, young river, young slopes, old river, old slope, A river always starts from mountains, ends in the penny plain. इसमें तो रिवर की बात भी नहीं हो रही है, इसमें तो बस लैंडस्केप की बात हो रही है ना. इट्स लाइक यू नो, फैमिली में मेरा एक ही औकात है, कितने पैसे कमा के लाए हो बताओ एंड ऑफ द डे, राइट? ऐसे नहीं यार, आई एम मोर देन दैट, आई हैव माय ड्रीम्स आल्सो. पैसे कमाता हूं, ठीक है, फाइन, मेरे सपने भी तो हैं, मेरे फियर्स भी तो हैं, मेरे एक्सपेक्टेशंस भी तो हैं, सो इग्नोर क्यों मार रहे हो? दिस इज व्हाट द टॉपिक इज सेइंग, that the rivers are not simply agents of denudation. Rivers not simply as agents of slope evolution. Rivers not only in terms of how they impact man favorably or unfavorably. Okay, the rivers each have their own unique characteristics. Each river has its own personality and features associated with their flow systems. And it is a channel morphology, okay, that emphasizes a river to be seen in terms of its slope characteristics, seen in terms of its cross section, seen in terms of its patterns, and not just that, it also in terms of what type of sediments it carries, load, in terms of, okay, whether it is a sinuous river, it is a meandering river based on its sinusity index, ये भी तो है. तो रिवर्स को पढ़ने के बहुत तरीके हैं, okay, not simply this. अब आपका आंसर शुरू होगा. So you can, in your answer, ये तीन को आप squeeze कर सकते हो into maybe one paragraph. There are many ways to study a river. Traditionally, rivers have been seen more as agents of denudation, agents of slope evolution like that of Davis, okay, and rivers as impacting man. All rivers are seen to create deltas, V-shaped valleys, of floodplains, gorges. But the fact is, every river is a unique set of certain elements that make up the river. Channel morphology explains river in terms of cross sections, whatever you have here. Okay, अब आप body बनाओगे आप इसमें. Body is a river as a river as features related to its slope. 2-3 points. बताओ क्या लिखोगे इसके अंदर में? River as, okay, features related to its slope. So rivers vary in terms of slope steepness. Rivers vary in terms of slope regularities. Slopes can be flat, uniform, halved, or the slopes can be irregular. Okay, slopes uniform or irregular. This in turn depends on the type of landscape and the rocks. Type of landscapes and the rocks. So there are channels which are alluvial channels. They will have smooth slopes. They will have gentle slopes. And then there are bedrock channels. Yaad aa raha hai terms, bedrock channels. Bedrock channels will have hard, resistant rocks. They will have irregular calving. It is this aspect of slope which can impact river navigability. This aspect of slope can impact rivers usefulness in terms of, okay, waterfalls and power generation. These rivers में irregular slopes हैं. Okay, you will have dams in the downstream, Hongenickel Falls, Mettur Dam, okay, Ithipotla Falls, Nagarjuna Sagar Dam. But अगर smooth thalweg hai, you will not have any dams. Think of Ganga River, you don't have any rivers, dams downstream. Okay, the slope profile of rivers can also be impacted by what? River rejuvenation. कि slopes में nick points आ जाएंगे. Slope can become irregular. हो गया? River in terms of slopes. So I hope you know what are bedrock channels and what are alluvial channels. what are bedrock channels and what are alluvial channels. Alluvial channels which flow through soft sediments, erodible sediments like Ganga system. Bedrock channels, the river flows through hard resistant rocks like the rivers of the peninsular plateau. So आपको अगर पढ़ना होगा, I'll tell the page number to all of you on this. Okay, but let me finish this topic first. ये हो गया आपका? Done all of you? Slopes वाला हो गया? Now you talk in terms of rivers and their features associated with cross sections. You say conventionally, river valleys are seen as V-shaped valleys. But there are a lot of variations in the V shape. They can be open V. These are old senile rivers. They can be deep V. These are gorges. These are young rivers. They can be very deep canyons. They can be very deep canyons. Okay. The river valleys can also be composite cross sections, such as valleys within valleys. ये भी हो सकता है ना? सिर्फ ये थोड़ी है, आपके ये भी तो valleys बनते हैं. Entrenched valleys, yeah, yes, incised valleys, entrenched valleys. So the river is, in terms of its cross section, is it a simple V? Is it an open V? Is it a deep V? Is it a composite V? ये भी the important part है. Then the river valleys can also be asymmetric. So one is steep, other is maybe gentle. Asymmetrical valleys. Asymmetrical valleys, they can be governed by the nature of sediments, the nature of the bedrocks. Maybe यहाँ पर soft sediments हैं, ये काट दिया. ये hard rocks हैं, ये काट नहीं पा रहा है. Asymmetrical would also mean meandering. I hope you know this meandering वाला. याद है कुछ? Meandering में there's a steep valley जहाँ पर river का ये outer bend में होता है. What do you call this as? River? What? River cliffs. And the inward side जहाँ पर depositions होता है, उसको बोलते हैं slip of meandering. If you have a meandering river like this is side A, this is side B. Okay, A is the outside bend, B is the inside bend. Outside bend में erosion हो रहा है. Erosion हो रहा है तो ये आपका ये वाला बनेगा, steep बनेगा. यहाँ पर deposition हो रहा है तो यहाँ पर ये बनेगा. To take a cross section, okay, ऐसे हो रहा है. So river valleys also tell us about the river properties. Symmetrical, asymmetrical, composite valleys, deep valleys, ये भी feature है. Okay, so river valleys can also be determined by the nature of material. Is it composite material? Sorry, is it cohesive material? Is it cohesive material? Is it easily erodible material? अगर cohesive होगा, river valleys will be narrow. अगर erodible होगा, the river valleys will be broader. If the floor is hard rocks and the banks are soft material, आप बताओ किस टाइप का वैली बनेगा? If the floor is hard rocks and the banks are soft, what type of river will we have? Valley. It'll have a rectangular shape. ये वाला deep नहीं हो रहा है, but ये वाला erode हो रहा है. The river valley is also a function of the type of sediment, the type of rocks. Rectangular cross sections, asymmetrical cross sections, again open V cross sections, deep V cross sections, canyon gorges. What look like कि क्या लिखेंगे? अब आपको प्रॉब्लम होगा कि क्या नहीं लिखेंगे सर. अब बताओ what limit cross हो रहा है. U-shaped valley glaciers में है, but yes, we can also have like a U-shape, but it's better called as this. Third aspect. Okay, river features in terms of river patterns. So river pattern is also an important aspect of drainage systems or channel systems. River pattern is also an aspect of the channel system. It's about how the tributaries are related to the mainstream in terms of shapes. How the tributaries are related to the mainstream in terms of shapes. We can have dendritic ones. We can have rectangular ones. We can have trellis drainage. We can have radial drainage. 4-5 names. In terms of shapes, barb patterns. Okay, these are called as barbed river systems. It's like a barbed river system. So the river patterns are more dependent on the landscape lithology. On the landscape lithology. आपको कुछ समय जरूरत नहीं है, बस touch and go ahead. So when do we have dendritic? This is dendritic, right? This is dendritic. This is rectangular. This is radial. This is trellis. This is barb. So what type of landscape? Dendritic होता है in locations that have uniform lithology. हर जगह same type के rocks हैं. So think of Himalayan landscape. The soft rocks, uniform lithology में dendritic होता है. Rectangular when you have granitic rocks. Granite develops cracks and joints at right angles. Okay. Radial जब ये होगा isolated hill या फिर कोई basin होगा. It can be centrifugal or also centripetal. Both are examples of radial. अगर basin है, like river Chard lake, they all can come and converge. Okay, this is Amarkantak, a hill, centripetal. When will we have trellis? We'll have a steep mountain, tab hoga. If I have a steep slope like this, the main consequent river and all the river comes and joins parallelly from one side. Trellis. I hope it's okay, all of you here. So quickly. So therefore, yes, the river systems are represented by their valleys, their cross sections, their slopes, and their drainage patterns. And we'll add one sentence on that these elements also interact. These elements also interact. The nature of slopes and the type of sediments. The steep slope hai, gentle slope hai, whatever. It can impact downstream characteristics. It can impact downstream characteristics. It is through this question you must go back and revise channel morphology. Okay, so to tell you the page number on this, page number 305. It has the landforms of rejuvenation. 305 has landforms of rejuvenation. Page number 426 and 427. 426, 427. The types of valley within valleys. I'm following this book, Geomorphology by Savindra Singh. Page numbers आगे पीछे होगा तो होगा, but ज़्यादा नहीं होगा. Okay, so the first one was from chapter number 16, 1.6. Topographic expressions of rejuvenation, polycyclic reliefs. Our second discussion was from page 22, sorry, chapter 22, about the type of valley within valleys. You can also look up page number 400. Okay, first column. It's about the different types of valleys: symmetrical valley, asymmetrical valley, rectangular valleys. How that depends on What type of material? Page 400. This is chapter 21, channel morphology. Then I discuss something from page 404, channel types. Page 404, channel types, bedrock channels, alluvial channels. Bedrock channels and alluvial channels. You can also look up. Now, I'll suggest if you can quickly scan this page, which is page 342, chapter number 18, drainage patterns. Chapter 18, and 342, drainage patterns. 327 तो मैंने नहीं कहा. Did I say 27? No. Vivek, you may have missed something. Yeah. 427. 427. 427 has the types of valley within valleys, entrenched valleys, incised valleys, ingrown meanders. Okay, let's move on. The next question. Denudation chronology approach is a highly deductive. Denudation chronology approach is highly deductive, but it also suffers from certain perceptible weaknesses. Explain. It suffers from certain perceptible weaknesses. Explain. I'm presuming आपने ये topic पढ़ा हुआ है, and they have been asking questions from these topics. अगर आपने ये 5-6 सवाल कर लिया है, you have taken care of mountain building, tectonics हो गया, I've touched on channel morphology, I'm touching on erosional surface. ऐसे ही I will touch the topics of your syllabus. Repeat the question. Okay. Denudation chronology approach is highly deductive, but also suffers from certain perceptible weaknesses. Explain. It suffers from certain perceptible weaknesses. Okay, let's see. Do some jottings. Okay. क्या सोच रहे हैं? What can the story be according to you? What does the word but mean? But जो word है वो कुछ कहना चाह रहा है. Yeah. The state question has two parts, right? That is doing this, but it has weakness. So what does the word but tell you? Yeah. Yes. So अच्छा है कि बुरा है? It is deductive, but also suffers from weakness. The deductive idea, बुरा है कि अच्छा है? समझ में आ रहा है यहाँ पर? जो but add कर दिया है, it's basically saying, अच्छी बात है, it is deductive. It's a good thing. So you must tell me, how is that a good thing? However, there are problems. It's not a straight question of what are the problems. Remember this. It's not simply about tell us the problems of denudation chronology techniques. First, tell me how is a good idea, and good idea in terms of deductive technique. But there are problems. By the way, in science, what do we generally have theories like? In science, we prefer what? Inductive or deductive? I have to go back to some other concepts. Yeah? Deductive or inductive? Inductive. What we prefer? Which type of theories are considered to be better theories? Deductive or inductive? Of course, there is merit in both. Most theories are deductive in nature. Remember this. So let me explain the concept. Okay, I have a hunch. इससे कुछ ना कुछ पूछ देगा. Okay, in some way or the other. नहीं भी पूछा, आप उसको apply करना. Okay, so let me explain this to you. अभी आंसर नहीं, पहले आप समझ जाओ क्वेश्चन, then we'll come back on the answer. So essentially, the debate is about scientific approaches in geography. ये debate है. How do we have science? Science का दो तीन measure है. There must be a cause-effect relationship. There must be evidences in support of what you do. Whatever you find out, it must be a replicable and a repeatable. They have to be objective. This is, in some ways, is also the scientific positivism. I'm assuming you know these words from geographical thought. Any theory, any idea is positivist when it is objective, it is replicable, supported with evidences, and wherever possible, there is cause-effect relationship. Okay? So what happens is, given the diversity of phenomena, given the complexities of possibilities, given the uncertainties, given the diversity of phenomena, complexities of possibilities, and uncertainties in correlationships, okay. Deductive methods are convenient. They're convenient and they are logically established. Deductive methods are convenient. Okay, they are logical, random nahi hota hai. What I mean by that is, now see. One method is that I examine every possible instance. I study every element and then conclude and generalize. That I study every possible instance. जितना possible है हम सब पढ़ेंगे. We study every possible say event, and then we conclude and generalize. If you ask me, is the Earth a sphere? They काम करेंगे. Let us study all the bodies of the planet, of the universe. Okay, solar systems, galaxies, सब पढ़ लिया. And I found every body is a sphere. Maybe couple of exceptions. इतना millions पढ़ने के बाद में, so all probability Earth is also a sphere. कि सर मैं पास कर पाऊंगा कि नहीं? ऐसे एक काम करते हैं. Let me have a data first. Okay, all the people who have ever appeared, studied every instance of Marx, made some study, and then said, "Oh yes, you are like this, so yes, you'll qualify." I have studied every instance, her data, her sample, every possible event. मैंने पढ़ लिया. Then I conclude. We call this as inductive. Inductive क्या होता है? It moves from specifics. It moves from the particulars. It moves from the many instances, and then you are giving a generalization. This is called as inductive techniques. But what we realize is, science में all instances जाना impossible है. How can I study billions of stars and galaxies and trillions of galaxies? How can I do that? How can I study all possible Okay, instances of किसने examination दिया था. So what we do is, what is done is that a few instances are studied. Okay, from the few instances, generalization is made, and we call this as hypothesis, and then it is checked for more instances. So I'll study few instances, not all instances, few instances. Yes, Mars is spherical, Venus is spherical, okay, Jupiter spherical, तो यार लगता है कि Earth भी spherical होगा. So I made a law that yes, Earth is spherical. Okay. Now I'll study more and more कि अच्छा Uranus भी spherical है, तो Earth भी हो सकता है. Okay. Sun भी spherical है, so I agree, Earth भी है. और यहाँ पे comet मिला, ये तो लग नहीं रहा spherical. Oh, I have put a question mark. Let me see how many type of comets are there. I found an asteroid. Is it spherical? नहीं है. I again put a question mark. Then again I find no. We have some other planets who are spherical. Hai. So conclusion is most of them spherical, but maybe some exceptions they are not. So I study some instances, make a hypothesis generalization, then I keep on checking till my theory gets discarded. My first hypothesis was yes, all celestial bodies are spherical. Then I found exceptions. Then my rephrased is most celestial bodies are spherical, but the exceptions, particularly asteroids in the belts beyond the Mars. मैंने modify कर दिया इसको. This is called as deductive models. In deductive models, you move from first a general statement, you make a law, you make a hypothesis, and then you are checking for a specific instances. यहां पर क्या है? It is from particular to general. यहां पर है from general to particular. Okay. From specifics to a law. यहां पर पहले आप law बना देते हो. Then you are moving towards particular. Sir, will I pass or not? Oh, wait. Oh, yes, my cousin had passed. Oh, that student has passed. And he was working like this. So almost same hai, so you'll also pass. So I made a law. Okay, people like XYZ studying 7 hours a day will pass. ये मेरा law बन चुका. अब हम test करेंगे. And then I find, no, I modify. अच्छा, everybody of this kind studying 7-8 hours a day plus answer writing will pass. I keep on modifying as I get new instances. I hope you got the point here. So deductive models are more convenient. Deductive models are more manageable. Deductive models are the more popular methods of scientific inquiry. Think of what Davis has done. Davis studied, okay, some areas of US, correct? 2-3 river पढ़ लिया. Typical conditions of temperate and humid conditions. River hai, and he said, oh, यहाँ पर तो है ऐसे. Young river, high mountains, large river, Nile river, flat plains. And then he makes a law. This is what is for the whole world. ठीक है, इसमें law बन जाओ. Law of a fluvial cycle of erosion. And somebody said, यार ऐसे कैसे है? Okay, आप वहां जाओ, वहां the glaciers हैं. तो अच्छा, my law is like this. Exception. Glacial are climatic accidents. So I am modifying as I am getting some new data or insights. You all understand the idea of deductive and inductive reasoning, all of you now? अब हम कह रहे हैं that the concept of denudation chronology जो है, ये deductive है. अच्छी बात है. Deductive is manageable. Deductive is convenient. Deductive is scientific. Deductive is logical. Okay. But there are certain perceptible weaknesses. अच्छा है, but perfect नहीं. अब बताओ इस statement के बारे में. Is it okay, all of you here? Okay. So one reading you can have in this is, let me get to that first. Page 22. Models of analysis. Methods of analysis. Let me open the page for you. So it is through the questions I am studying. Okay. That's the whole idea. This is page 22. Okay. This is the methods of analysis. Okay. This says there are inductive methods, the deductive methods, and one is analytical method. Analytical mein kya hoga? That you formulate more than one hypothesis. Earth can be spherical. Okay. Earth can be spherical but geoid. Okay. And it's possible Earth is also rectangular. Maine 3 law bana diya. And I'll keep on testing whichever is more applicable. You use this in a lot of studies of human behavior. That if a man is angry, he will murder. Man is angry, he will go depression. Man is angry, he probably will go into meditation. Maine 3 law bana diya about anger. Now we'll check what's happening. And then I'll say, oh, based on cause if a relationship, based on reason evidences, the first 2 less likely, third one is more likely. We call that as analytical methods. Okay, so you parallelly will keep on testing. Okay, so here we are. So, yeah, inductive method. Inductive methods, this is in successive steps, observe facts of given problems, one leads to another. Okay, and the theory is made in the last stage. Last stage mein. It is suitable for simple problems. Isme ki aapko pata hai, few instances that you can do that. Inductive methods, a lot of labor is required in collection of data. Okay, and you find conclusion derived at the end, and hence some questions may be questionable, conclusions may be questionable. Kam data hoga, zyada time aapke paas hai. Okay, you always wait for the final one and then make your conclusions. Whereas deductive mein kya hai? It is first the formulation of a hypothesis about the real world in the beginning itself. The formulation is tentative, approximate formulations. Okay, deduced in advance. The facts are collected. Okay, actual field observations done and compared, and whether the hypothesis is proved or rejected, approved or rejected. Hypothesis is revised. जो नया मिलेगा आप फिर रिवाइज कर देंगे उसको. मैं बताया ना कोई नया मिलेगा, you will change the hypothesis. Revise, entire process is referred, is repeated, and so on. Okay, but इसमें क्या है? That there is a problem of, because आपने पहले से theory बना दिया है. Theory is, if angry, I'll commit a murder. That's my theory. If I बना दिया है, what happens is, as a researcher, to prove my statement, I look for facts that agree with my statement. I'll look for more examples where anger में murder हुआ है. I hope you got the point. That's my perceptible weakness. Example of the biases of the researcher. Okay, so this question is about that one. Is biased because collection of data, information, as he may retain only those facts which validate the tentative hypothesis and ignore the facts which do not favor his deductions. The quality of results will depend on the nature of deductions and closeness of the comparison and so on. The fundamental difference between inductive method and deductive method, okay, is that in the first method, theory is formulated in last stage, okay, whereas in the second method, hypothesis is deduced in the beginning, and the field work and data collection is accomplished according to demand of the deduced. This is for understanding. Now I'll go and back and discuss what the question was. All fine here? I'm summarizing this conversation here. So in inductive method, we have data collection. There is a study of evidences. Then there is convergence to a theory. You collect data first, study all evidences, and you converge to a theory. This is possible when the phenomena is simple, when the data is few, less. Okay? The second is deductive methods, इसमें कि few data, because बिना data तो आप scratch से करोगे ना, ऐसे नहीं होगा. तो so few data is studied, tentative hypothesis established, then data is collected and hypothesis is tested. Then there is reformulation of hypothesis according to evidence. और ये iteration होता रहता है. This continues like this. Not this one. You few data, you have a tentative hypothesis. From this, some data is collected and hypothesis is tested. अगर कोई discrepancy हुआ, तो आप hypothesis को reframe करते हो, and that becomes the new hypothesis. Again, you do data collection. This is a series of iteration of perfection. Typically, how some innovations are done. एक बना देते हैं product, उसको आप testing करते हो, जो data समझ में आता है, फिर आप change करते हो product. You again put in testing again, and it goes on, and the product gets refined. So in actual scientific studies, this is done. This is faster. This is incremental. This is time consuming because data pehle chahiye aap. But the problem with this is there can be perceptible biases. I will test what seems to be closest to my theory. So look at a straight question, which is, discuss the methods of geomorphological analysis. Straight question ho gaya. Inductive, deductive, and you are on. Okay? Oh, you got the material? A few more minutes. It's a straight question. Okay. Otherwise, the way I'm discussing, our question was, tell us the denudation chronology jo hai, this is deductive. पहले आप इसको establish करो. It is deductive. Why deductive? Because it's based on study of macro geomorphology. It is based on study of very large scale time, because it is based on identification of erosional surfaces, because the geological reconstruction is done on the basis of few erosional surfaces. आप कोई जगह में जाते हैं, आप लार्ज स्केल पूरा तिब्बत पढ़ रहे हैं, आप लार्ज स्केल स्टडीज, एंटायर प्लेटो आप पढ़ रहे हो, लार्ज स्केल स्टडीज. So they are there, we call those as macro geomorphology studies. The macro geomorphology studies, large scale studies. Okay. Inductive is never large scale. They are very specific. Deductive are large scale. In general hoga. Okay. They study over large time scales. They cannot study the specific instance. They study in general. Is what happens in 1 million years. What happens in 20 million years. That's it. They study based identification of erosion surface. Erosion surface apne aap mein hi, it is a very, very difficult feature to identify and isolate. Why? Because erosion surfaces can be modified. Erosion surfaces are not accessible. दिखता ही नहीं है कि surface है भी कि नहीं है. Erosion surfaces, okay, have been eroded and destroyed. Why are they difficult to identify? Why? Because they are greatly modified. They may be eroded and destroyed. Okay, they are not accessible. Okay, most of them, okay, are not identifiable. Imagine the loss of erosion surface because of ice age, loss of erosion surface because of rise in sea level, or submergence by sediments. आपके पास है ही नहीं अब. They're covered by ice. So अगर आप बना रहे हो theory on erosion surface, most of them are lost, which means you're making a theory based on very few instances, right? आपने 2-3 landform देखा and said, oh, this is the geological history. That's why it's deductive. Okay, the geological reconstruction is on the basis of few erosion surfaces. It is basically interpretation of palimpsest topography which preserves the marks of past processes. It is interpretation of palimpsest, P-A-L-I-M-P-S-E-S-T, palimpsest topography, which is topography that preserves the past processes. That is why it is deductive. Okay, these type of methods, okay, they will be gross generalizations. They will have a speculative conclusions. They will lack definitive cause effect relationships. They're gross generalizations. They are having speculative conclusions. You can never be sure कि right है या wrong है. They lack definitive cause effect relations. You say, however, okay, deductive methods, okay, are more convenient. इसके बिना तो आप कुछ भी नहीं पढ़ पाओगे. Okay, so deductive methods in some ways are compulsions. तो आप बोलोगे इतने कम रॉक्स के बेसिस पे आपने थ्योरी बना दिया. मैंने कहा ठीक है, मैं गलत हूं, आप मुझे लेके आओ, bring all rocks possible of last 2 million years. बताओ फिर. आपके पास रॉक है नहीं. Okay, you have said Earth is round based on only 3 planets. मैं कहा ठीक है, तो बैठ पढ़ो फिर all your life, okay, 20 billion planets, and then come and tell me. Okay, so it's a compulsion. It is not a luxury. हमारा compulsion है. We cannot study the diversity if I want every instance. It is convenient because the fact is lot of landforms are lost. क्या करें हम उसका बताओ? I hope you got the point. And we say we make a hypothesis, और जब कुछ नया idea आएगा तो हम change कर लेंगे ना. How does it matter? Sir, give me the perfect method for preparation. I said, यार मेरे पास यही method है. शुरू करो पहले. जब अड़चन आएगी तो modify कर लेंगे. You can't wait कि I'll make a perfect method and then you will take off. I hope you got the point here. So मैंने सोच समझ के my little experience, this method शुरू करो चलो. And as and when I find problems, challenges, we'll modify it. But let's not wait for the perfect one to come up first. That's why deductive methods में ये problems तो है, right? But deductive methods are more convenient. Deductive methods, okay, these are a compulsion. Okay, and deductive methods definitely have given us insights into the process of the past. They have given us insights into processes of the past. We have reconstructed the landscapes of India, India's denudation chronology. हमने किया है. Archean rocks, Proterozoic rocks. You have got the Dravidian rocks, Gondwana rocks. बनाया ना, sequence बनाया हम लोगों ने. Is it okay, all of you? So deductive है, मजबूरी है, उसका benefit भी है. The first part of the topic is done now. That it is deductive. Yes, it is. and you have got no other recourse. However, like any other deductive method, it suffers with weakness. Weaknesses related to the researchers' biases. Okay, that a researcher will look for evidences that support his hypothesis. ये बड़ा natural होता है. We look for evidences that support his hypothesis, and the researcher can dismiss incongruent instances as exceptions. The researcher can dismiss incongruent instances as exceptions. आप ये करोगे demonstrate through example. Davis example itself. Davis had made 4 deductive conclusions. That cycle of erosion is repetitive, continuous. ये कभी रुकेगा नहीं. Write down. Davis के क्या थे? Deductive conclusions क्या थे? The cycle of erosion is continuous. There is no role of endogenetic forces. River is the only agent of erosion. And the deductive conclusion: high relief, bold topographies are youthful. Low relief, flat topographies are senile and old. High relief, bold relief are youthful, and flat reliefs, senile topographies are old. And that the process is unidirectional, reverse नहीं होने वाला. It's unidirectional. It is progressive. आगे बढ़ता चला जाएगा. It is progressive. And when he had examples of other agents of erosion, what did he do? He said they are climatic accidents. उन्हें ignore कर दिया उसको. An instance of upliftment, he called that as abnormal cycles, interrupted cycles. He dismissed those. Is it okay, all of you here? Which means he was trying to preserve his hypothesis and he was having his own perceptible biases. ज्यादा पुश किया तो बता दिया कि चलो यार एक और अलग से बना लेते हैं, एरिड साइकिल ऑफ इरोजन. किसी और कुछ और दिखाया, ओके अलग से बना लेते हैं, मरीन साइकिल ऑफ इरोजन. So ultimately the general theory जो था, it got diluted. The question is not what is denudation chronology. Tell us about Davis cycle नहीं पूछ रहा है ये. Every possibility ये सवाल पूछेगा नहीं. But आपके पास insights है ना अभी. When they ask you about Davis model analysis, आप ये dimension लिख के आना. See, the technique of scoring marks is, I will teach you something new. अगर direct आ गया, like spliothym, very nice, very happy. Okay. अगर नहीं आया, now these are gems in your concepts. नए नए ideas. Find ways how to use them in your answers. एक paragraph ही सही, 1 page ही सही, 1 insight ही हो जाए. Okay. Can you have a question on channel morphology? Yes. आप उसने एक paragraph डाल देना. The channel morphology was a very unique way of studying streams, otherwise ignored, in the earlier forms of studies. वो डाल देना and 1-2 lines there. Okay. They can always ask for Davis model. लिख देना एक paragraph. Davis model is a classical example of a deductive model based on assumptions. Okay, the assumptions, though criticized, were actually very smart compulsions without which we could have had no theory. However, there are perceptible weaknesses like 1, 2, 3 points. Is it okay, all of you? It's like मैंने आपको एक औजार दे रखा है. I've given you a tool now. Is your smartness how you apply this? You can use the example of India's denudation chronology. Peninsular plateau, northern plains, mountains and northern plains. It's like a denudation chronology of India. Okay, now you want to refer on this one. एक तो बता दिया मैंने आपको पेज नंबर क्या 22 था, right? That's one reference. Then I'll suggest, see, inductive method, if you have all the data, you have all the techniques of collection, analysis, enough of time, inductive is the best. अगर टाइम है तो बेटा एक एक पेज पढ़ लो ना किताब का. टाइम नहीं है तो भी सिलेक्टिव. यहां से एक पेज पढ़ा, वहां से एक पढ़ा. Deductive is convenient. Deductive is smart. What we are doing is something like deductive. ये पहले ये सवाल पूछा हुआ है, चलो ऐसे ही प्रिपेयर करते हैं. ठीक है? तो deductive is scientific. It is smart technique. Inductive is tedious and in complexities you can't handle it. अगर बनेगा तब ना. अगर तुमने पूरा किताब पढ़ लिया, सब समझ लिया एग्जाम के पहले तक, तो बहुत बढ़िया है. खत्म करके तो बताओ सारा पेज. If you can do all instances analysis, if you can do it, then brilliant. क्या कर नहीं पाओगे. ठीक है? Okay. So one reference here. So page number 309, chapter number 17. I picked up the statement yahin se. Chronology approach suffers from certain perceptible weakness. The approach is highly deductive because unknown events, responses are described on the basis of very limited knowledge, information and evidences. Mil raha aapko ye wala? This passage is the answer more or less. But word it the way we understand it. Page number 309. Erosion surfaces के पहले. All good, all of you? इस question because but add कर दिया है. Take it positive. फिर आप समझाओगे क्यों convenient है. Don't just say the word and keep quiet. Now, I'm a good boy. Don't stop there. I'm a good boy because I do work on time. Because I'm caring. Because I'm honest. समझाओगे. Why convenient समझाओ ना मुझे पहले. इतने landform के diversity में, when landforms are changing, landform development is very dynamic, lot of things are lost. We cannot wait for instance where we will have all the evidences. समझाओ उसको, why convenient. ठीक है? Okay. तो आप एक और सवाल लिखो आप all of you. Discuss the concept of equilibrium as propounded by Gilbert. Discuss the concept of equilibrium as propounded by Gilbert. So I have got 6-7 questions. I will discuss tomorrow. But हम चाह रहे हैं आप सोचें खुद पहले. Okay, so उसका तरीका क्या होगा? Maybe I'll put it on the scanner. You can take a screenshot of this. या फिर I will of course put it on the Telegram also. And all the questions are L3 questions. If the geomorphic cycle is accepted as valid, penny plane is a necessary corollary to it. Illustrate. देखो आपको कुछ समझ में आता है कि नहीं. Describe theories of isostasy based on principles of buoyancy, the concept of equilibrium and isostatic adjustments. The structural and the physiographic features of circumpacific zone are fully as spectacular as those of better known San Andreas and Alpine faults. Discuss. लिख मत आ जाना note on circumpacific belt. I want something else there. The variations with time of a geomagnetic field, the secular variations are the basis of the science of paleomagnetism. Discuss. There is uniform development of landforms in varying environmental conditions, and there is insignificant influence of climatic changes in the development of fluvially original landforms. Critique the statement. So if you want to copy it down, you may do so. Just give me a second. Right now, focus on the first 2 questions. Don't digress. Because at 5 questions, it takes me 2 hours. आपको भी लगेगा 2-2.5 घंटा. सारा ना भी करो, at least couple of them do that. That's one set you have got. What else have you got for me? The questions of the practice test. There are 16 questions, 16 questions. ये 16 questions के answer आपको हम दे देंगे. Some of them are previous year's answers. इसके अलावा they're also giving you another 30 answers, the tricky ones, which I will not ask, not necessarily, but I will want कि आप जान लें वो सब. It is through these questions I take care of your L1, L2 and some L3 questions. So आपके पास कितने questions हैं अभी? I will discuss some questions here. ये हो गया आपका 8, 9, 10 question हो गया. I have given you 16 questions as answers. With answers से मिलेगा ये वाला. There are 16 questions. And इसके अलावा you'll have another, what, 28, 30 questions, right? That covers almost all topics of geomorphology. आपका काम है किताब बंद करो, बस रट्टा मारो, और समझ में ना आया, go back and open the notes and your textbook. Now, one suggestion to all of you is that when you memorize the answers, don't mechanically memorize. पढ़ें उसको. You want to rephrase something there. You feel कि नहीं इसको और कुछ और modify कर देते हैं. आपको मैंने बनाया दे रखा है. Now you modify it. That modification will help you remember better. Okay, so spend some time thinking through it, debating through it. Okay, add some richness. Modify some sentences. You know, ये बहुत difficult है या मैं कुछ और लिखूंगा. I'm giving you a kind of a guide there. So your entire preparation will happen through this question. So आपने अगर 50 question कर लिया यार, come on, मैं इतना घटिया किस्मत लाए हो, इससे कुछ भी नहीं पूछेगा, फिर तो I said you go home and sleep. Okay, ऐसे किस्मत का हम फाइट नहीं मार सकते. You will get a range. I have been fairly good at this. You'll get a range. यार उसके आसपास पूछेगा, you will do better than anybody else. You must promise me to do that. Okay, before the first test. Okay, or the tricky questions I am discussing with you. Today's questions are tricky questions. The same I'll do for the next tomorrow also. Fine, all of you. That's your strategy. The sectional test will not have any of these questions. वो अलग questions होंगे फिर, and they will surprise you. And I think you must expect me to give you L3 questions, not L1 questions. L1 में तो आपके पैसे खराब हो जाएंगे. Okay, you better learn something new. So be prepared for a sectional test then. All good, all of you? Okay.